So in your own space, I mean, do you still see a lot of these gender role ideology challenges?
Of course. Always.
All the time?
All the time. Every day.
I guess we could never understand your place
Position.
as a female entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Because there's no way we can experience it.
No, of course.
It just happens to you. And I had a business partner, and she would always say to me, we can be in the same boardroom, but your experience and my experience.
No, of course. I was reading something on GBV in the workplace. That people see it, but they ignore it.
Okay.
And the perpetrators don't call it harassment. And what they say is, I'm pursuing this person. I've been pursuing that.
Okay.
But they know for sure what they were doing. So it's something that's seen, but not voiced out.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Khoola Biz Lounge podcast. My name is Bongani Mzobe, your host for that platform that decodes entrepreneurship and helps you in your journey as you chase your bag. You guys know I always tell you this. We don't know what your bag is or what your chase is, but there is a formula in getting it right. As usual, I'm with my co-host tonight, Mr. Nick. Good evening, sir.
Evening, my good chief.
How are you?
Can't complain, man. It's been a great journey as we continue this podcast of ours.
Coming along nicely, eh?
Coming along very nice.
Yeah.
Very well. It's being a woman's month and all. They've been very receptive.
Yes.
So I think to continue with that as well, I think we need to also look at their impact that they have in the industries that they operate in.
Very
and
important.
We need to acknowledge them for the women that they are. So it came as a natural decision for us to have the one and only Sawubona Thandeka.
Ngiyaphila bhuti njani?
Hayi, nathi siyaphila bandla. I've known Thandeka for a short bit of time, but it feels like when I go through her journey, it's we've been there. We've been there. She's done it all, and she's still going to do more.
Very true, Mr. Nick. When I look at her bio, I get so much respect for her, looking at, the number of awards that she's won, the number of accolades that she has to her name. Because you just achieve more and more and more. But I think the most recent one is the 2021 Standard Bank Entrepreneur of the Year. Am I correct?
Correct.
Yes. I'm just going to go through your bio so that people understand who our guest is today and why, it is important that we have you on the show. Guys, Thandeka is a wife, she's a mother, she's a mentor, she's also a coach. But the reason she's on the show tonight is because she's an entrepreneur. And not only an entrepreneur who's like everyone else, but she's, those special ones, the select ones, the chosen few. Those ones that have no doors closed for them. Their doors are just open wherever they go. She runs a successful business. She's the CEO of Total Serve Facilities Management, and she's also the founder of Inc. Foundation. She's also the managing founder at Thasola Consulting. Did I pronounce that correct?
Perfectly well.
You do so much.
Not enough.
Is it not enough? And I must say, you know, going through articles that speak about you, and the work that you've done out in KZN, and now you're based in Gauteng. It really just speaks of a female entrepreneur who is set on reaching the greatest heights that she can.
You know, Wongs, the nicer part about speaking to women of the caliber of Thandeka, it's having to understand that they are aware of their surrounding,
Yeah.
and they are aware of what it means to be a woman, right? And what does that do to the business and the opportunities that are there. So I guess it very much speaks volume, the fact that we are here with her and discussing this this gender role, gender ideology, you know, in business, and what does it play, you know. And when I sit here, I cannot help but just want to ask this first question of blast. When you do business in every shape or form or any market, does it ring to you that I'm not a businesswoman first, I am a female first? Or do you just say I'm a business person and that's that?
Thanks for that, and thank you guys for having me in your show. I look forward to engaging with you. Thanks for the question, Nick. For me, I'm both, because in my leadership style, I lead with emotions. So I do want to recognize that I am a woman and I'm also a business person. That has to be respected, because in most spaces, we either get taken as women and not as business people. And in some spaces, we get taken as just business people and not women. So why I say business people and not women, when you are pregnant, for instance, as a business person or even a woman, you get seen as, you know, you're weak, or you need to be at home. Or when you are wearing something, you know, you get seen as, just like how other labels then follow. Before woman and business, there's also this label of, is she married? Who is she married to? You know, to tell you a small story, before I was married, obviously I was doing business, I used to buy a fake ring and wear it. Because the kind of respect that you get in a meeting with men when you're wearing a ring is different to just being seen as this girl wearing something revealing because you feel good about wearing whatever on that day, you know. So we have so many roles, because, you know, we are women, we are businesswomen, we are black. You know, there's so many hats that one has to wear. So you must be able to find that strength to say, I want to be all. I am black, I am a woman, I'm in business, so you have to take me seriously. Because I do know what it is that I'm saying. So I hope I've answered your question.
Yeah, you've answered my question, and you've also unlocked a lot of other questions. You know? Look, I believe, you know what, for us as men, we grow up understanding that showing vulnerability puts you as weak, right? And automatically, what you've just told me is that some of us as men as well, what we do when we see a businesswoman, we automatically see vulnerability. And our understanding of business is that it's a jungle out there. You show any signs of vulnerability, we go for it. You know? So, and you fall prey to that. You know? And I mean, if you're sitting here with us and you fairly got a toddler, he's what, 2 years now?
Almost, yeah.
Almost 2 years. So I could understand that with dealing with COVID, still running your business, the last 3 years have been quite tough, because you've been dealing with vulnerability.
Absolutely.
You know? And has that thickened your skin? Or has it actually amplified your vulnerability for others to take advantage, and has taken food from your table?
Absolutely. But we must know, firstly, before I answer that question, vulnerability is not weakness. It's actually a very powerful choice that one makes. in the spaces that they are in.
True.
Because vulnerability is not only a gender thing or a sexual thing. Vulnerability is through everyone. And the more, as leaders, we lead with kindness, the more people are able to be vulnerable in the workplace, and people are able to be more productive. If you big corporates now are doing crashes and counseling sessions in the workplace so that people are more comfortable to say, I'm actually can go downstairs and breastfeed my child during my lunch break. And, impact that you put out there to your communities and your people drives more of a result than profits do, because you can have the most excellent business model, but if you are not leading with kindness as a leader, people will steal from you, people will be absent from work, there'll just be chaos.
I guess it's a trait that I also read on one of the articles about you, that you believe in upskilling so much that you would employ someone as a cleaner, and 2-3 years down that line, someone is in an admin role, taking up more space in the business, and it really takes a certain breed of an entrepreneur, I guess, who has the trait which you're speaking about now, to be able to look for a spark in the person and develop that spark. And I guess for someone like you, it really humbles you. The fact that at the end of the day, it is not only profit that you focus on, but also the development of others around you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That is right, and that is what I've always believed in, and that's what I've always grown up around. The humility that I grew around.
Yes.
I mean, we were a household of so many people because my mom has sisters and 5 sisters. So we as cousins, maybe it's about 50. But I'm exaggerating, but it's a lot.
It's a lot.
And because our moms had us young, so all of us.
All of it. Oh.
So sharing was something that was very important.
Yes.
Caring for other people was something that was absolutely important. So when I worked, obviously I had worked and I had grown to a certain level, and then I started the Thasola Consultancy, where I was helping SMMEs start their businesses, grow them, and get them to a scaling up kind of level. And with me doing that, I found that was not enough, because a consultancy can just, I'm not going to compete with the big 5s. But I needed to start a business that will be able to empower as much people, and the sky's the limit with the total serve because of the value chain in which we cover.
Okay.
So, and me understanding entrepreneurship is that the main aim of entrepreneurship in every country is to drive impact and to bridge the unemployment gap.
Yes.
Not for people to be rich and drive big cars, that will follow.
Yeah.
But if you do it for the right reasons, you will always be able to wake up and, go to work because your vision is that I want to employ 1,000 people by the end of the year. I want to employ 5,000 people in 5 years. And with employing one person is a family of 6 people.
Yeah.
So times that by however number, and it's
the impact is big.
No, yes. And when I left corporate, my colleagues were like, "Why are you doing this? You have such a nice position. Why?" And I said, it's hard. It's 20 times the effort, but you sleep better.
You do.
Well, not really at month end, but
Please. Yeah.
but you wake up and you actually know that I'm doing this to fulfill my personal, vision.
But now, when you mentioned that transitioning from you in your own career, personal growth and so forth, and shifting to a point where you're saying, no, I'm going to go into consulting and assist SMEs, and then moving now to directly employing. I would think that there's a lot about your personal dreams that you had to shift a lot, because whilst you're working under the employer, you had your aspiration and you moved accordingly, as your previous colleagues have said. You've got a nice job, you've got all of this, and at the same time you move in to assist business people, and you still feel that that's not enough. And then you change again, you move into that particular space where I want to hit it directly now, where I can be able to hire this person. But now the dynamic that I then, and guide me through this, I can have an aspiration to say, you know what, I want to start up this business, I want to do this, I want to do this. But also I need to take into account, are the skills available? I can come in here today and say I want to start a fintech. But if I want to start a fintech, I might need people who are qualified or skilled to do that. Maybe to find that only a few are available. But my job was to, or my goal was to impact on 5,000 people. So what then made you decide that Total Serve could actually open up those particular jobs and accommodate the guys that wouldn't have closest to your qualifications to actually do that?
Thanks for that. For me, as I said, I wanted to be in an industry where, the sky's the limit, and I could grow however much. But because I had never worked in the property industry, or I had never worked in such a company, or actually I had never been managing something
like that.
as scaling up as this. But I had to learn some of the skills that I didn't have. Okay. So I did go and study facilities management. I did go to UCT and studied property development and management. So that I could, while starting the company, be able to do some of the things and not really outsource everything and take away all the profits.
That's where the lessons come in.
Yes.
Yeah.
And corporate comes with good lessons. And that is why I always say, business is nice, but you need to go kamlungu and work to learn the discipline. Because me working with SMMEs, geez, people will have the biggest opportunities to make money, right? But because the discipline is not there, and the knowledge is not there as well. Besides the discipline, there are things that you learn in corporate that you can never learn on the streets. And a street-wise mentality grows to a certain level, and it's that. That's why you can try and do whatever that you can, but if you had not been in a corporate structure or worked for someone else to understand the culture of working, it's not possible. But if you move from your fintech culture or corporate environment to go start your own thing, there are bound to be things that you have learned.
Yes, that you can drop back from. Yes.
And that you can always drop back from. So you don't need to hire, a receptionist. You don't need to hire a bookkeeper. There are things that you can actually start doing on your own. That those tools are important once you
go there. So, Thandeka, I want to understand, because yes, you've started this Total Serve and from moving from helping SMEs to scale up and so forth. But now, when you say Total Serve, facilities management, I'm thinking FNB Stadium, fighting for naming rights and all those things. Tina says we caretake, But what does that actually mean to a person who doesn't understand the space that you're playing in?
Okay, thanks for that. Facilities management is the maintenance part of a building. So someone will build FNB Stadium, those are developers, and the people that take the asset to its life cycle are facilities managers.
Okay.
So when you speak to facilities management, there's a soft, they call it a non-technical and a technical aspect to it. So your non-technical are your day-to-day cleaning, hygiene, sanitation, gardening and all of those things.
Okay.
And then there's technical services, which are taking care of your air cons, your lifts, your escalators, your windows, your high-level windows, your electrical things.
Oh, okay.
So those people are making sure that this building is kept lit, whether from an energy efficiency point of view or changing globes. That is a service on its own, or changing handles in an office block. Those services are outsourced. Companies have now done an integrated FM model where they don't want to touch things that are not of their core business. If a business like an F&B or an Investec kind of building had to have an insourced facilities management, they will be spending more time managing this instead of
the core business.
So most companies have done a full outsource model where they will have an FM business to take care of all their maintenance. Because, I mean, we know that the most important thing in a business, besides profits, is making sure that your asset reaches its life cycle. And also it makes money.
It generates,
it generates revenue through your efficiencies and your, now it's all green building star rating. It's now they've done roof gardens. I mean, your facilities management factor in all those things. So it's managing. It's who the developers hand over the business to.
So basically, it sits on a part where it's a return on an asset.
Yes.
So so now it makes sense, because I mean, from where I sit, I would say no handyman.
Yes. All those people.
Go cleaner.
Yes.
So instead of to invest kanganagi forex, rather ayenza itiye and nizomenzela itiye and anagi forex yakhe.
Of course.
Okay.
Now it's gone to workplace culture. It's gone to ergonomics. It's gone. It's wide. It's gone to, as I say, environmental culture. What does a blue paint mean to the workspace culture? So all those things are things that we are learning as we go through the new things. Now it's gone to tech. It's sad that people are actually some people are going to be losing jobs because in some buildings there are no security guards. Before I go to a meeting at Investec I book a meeting, it gives me a code. I get to the gate, or I put in my thing. Actually, on that thing, it even asks you, are you having coffee, how many sugars, whatever the case is. You get to reception, there's no physical person. There is a screen that tells you to punch in and it tells you go to meeting room 5. It's sad, but, as we grow, we must try and find things that speak to technology in every space.
And where do you guys play, in the technical or the non-technical space?
In both, but predominantly the non-technical.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah. And looking at what we're talking about today, the gender role ideology in entrepreneurship. I mean, as a female entrepreneur, it must have, if not shaken people in the power spaces of this business, it must have gotten a lot of eyebrows to, how have people around you, supported you in this business as you started and grew the business as a female entrepreneur?
Okay, so I was lucky to have people around me, or to capture, because I captured them to be in my space. And that is the role of mentorship, and actually wanting to know what exactly do you want from a mentor. I get hundreds and hundreds of emails, people wanting me to mentor them. But for me, it's quite difficult, because if you don't know what you want yourself, you can't call and say, I want to start a company, I don't even know what I want to do. So I took a lot from the likes of Umam Ipileng Mkari, who had started a facilities management company from a CCTV company, and now it's a proper facility. I mean, property development company that owns their own assets. So I almost knew what it is that I wanted to do, because I make sure that I play around the space of people that, had done this and have a lot to show.
So if you wanna go stay in Sandton, but you don't have money yet, you can go on a weekend and come back.
Of course.
Basically.
Of course. Live the life that you want. And I always say that's my mantra. That it might be hard, but living a life of excellence it doesn't cost anything. They will say, there's a book that I read about excellence, that even if you live in a shack, leave home looking clean with your shoes polished. So that wherever you go, someone will take you serious.
Excellence is not necessarily rich.
No, it's not. Excellence is not rich. Prominence is not rich. It's all about wanting to be seen and to be seen as
I guess it's excelling at something.
It's excelling at something. And that is the failure of most entrepreneurs and business people.
In business, true. Because I mean, for a specific period of time, one has spent a lot of time being subjective to themselves. So whereby you're saying, no, me, I'm Nick, I know I can do it, right? But you don't create room for being critiqued to yourself, right? And that's where most entrepreneurs, they'll come up with an idea and say, vele, I'm smart. Vele, this will work. But right now, as you said to yourself, okay, I have access to these people. Let me capture them. That means you were very much honest with yourself to say, there's things here that are not here that I can make here. All my shortcomings can be filled by these people. And you captured them, And to understand that and fuse it into one is quite something of something that we can appreciate, Because with entrepreneurship, people think that it's either I make it. If I make it, I make it big. Or I don't make it after one rejected email, it's not for me. But the journey in between, I think that's one of the things that has captured, that has given value to what you've been doing. So as you speak of that, there's people that you're mentoring and so forth, do you have a particular qualifying criteria, or do you mentor mostly women?
I don't. I do a lot of advocacy or philanthropic work with boys.
Boys, okay.
Because I found that the space of boys is not captured, or it's always seen as boys must be okay. Men must be okay. And for me, the same men will be with our girls.
True.
So you busy polishing and making the girl look pretty. And then there's a vulnerable boy that will meet up with this girl at some point, and then the work goes back 20 steps back.
True.
And then you're spending your whole life in therapy.
If you like it, you are incorrect.
So I do mentor all business people. But because of capacity and time, I always say I have a company called Mentorship Tribe. That type of work goes into. And I have limited myself to 10 people a year. And through the tribe, I'm trying to gather then more people to form part of the tribe and be able to take in some people as well, from a professional level, also from an entrepreneurship level. But to come back to your first, comment, Boo, is in everything that you do, or if this is for anyone listening, no matter how high you think you might have,
you've climbed
the ladder, everything that you start, you need to start it with a beginner's mind. Me wanting to meet or Ipiling, I didn't just go and I was scared for days, all the time. Every conference, I'd be like, until I listened to someone to saying, what's the worst that could happen? Just ice break this thing and say, oh, I love your suit. Oh, you look so nice. And then you just...
Did you build?
Yes, you build on that. So when you start business and you are proud, that becomes a problem because you're never able to actually listen and take on something because you did not start it with a beginner's mind.
And it's we all suffer from that.
Yeah.
I mean, we always think that we are going to be at the right place at the right time. And being in that bit, that means you don't want effort to be applied because you think that the stars will align and I'll wear a grey suit, I'll stand out, they'll say, why are you great suit there, and this is going to happen. It just hits home, it just hits home when you say those things.
And it comes back to education, in the industry or in every industry.
Yeah.
We find ourselves in these enterprise development courses, this, that. I would sit in courses where there's no balance, in terms of revenue streams with companies. We get a startup matched with a 20 million rand per annum company. And it becomes hard. But I always say that it's so important for me to know that I will always learn something from Sbu, I will always learn something from you, I will always learn something from someone, and I actually always do. And, to tell you a funny story, part of my service offering, obviously, is pest control.
Okay.
And
Makundwan.
yeah,
Everything that pests you.
And,
moves, it's captured.
the most different, the most difficult part of business is human capital.
Yes.
So I would always pay people, or I'd always pay for courses with people and pay for this, and then 2 years down the line.
So humble. Yeah.
And I was like, I'm tired of this. Let me just go learn this thing. It's a 4-day course, and then I have to have some work experience, and then I am qualified. And I actually did. And all my friends were like, what? Where are you? What are you learning? How's it going to help you? Like, yeah, I'm learning about...
You could hire someone to do that.
I'm learning about ants. I'm learning about how cockroaches invade into Mundo, how wood borer works, and all these things. So if you don't put yourself at that level to say, I'm still going to want to learn this.
True.
Because it's important for me. Because you can't outsource everything.
True.
So that's
Although your business model is your client should outsource your business.
Yeah.
But you don't want to outsource.
No. I'm saying, when we do a proposal, they will want CVs and certificates and all of these things. If I always pay to empower other people, and things that I can do myself, because it's quite heartbreaking when people leave the company after you've invested
So much.
And it's so easy for people to say, no, I'll pay it back. I'm like, it's not about that.
It's not about that. It's about
this thing now,
really is
this
not
skill
about
now.
that.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah.
So it makes a world of a difference when you've gathered that knowledge and you now can take it in-house to say, okay, you can do this, do that, do this, do that, but the end result thereof, and even if they have to go, because at the end of the day, it's not only about the salary for human capital, it's also about the holistic growth, right? Similarly, you might be hiring somebody today who is a Thandeka, right? Who just needs the corporate experience and understand what's happening and then embark on their journey, right? So it's very important that the blueprint as an entrepreneur of your business is what stays with you. It's what you impact on others. Unless, if you don't understand that, then you might as well be doing a compilation CD of that DJ, that DJ.
Of course.
No blueprint that you have.
No, of course, and that's the way to go. And that's why strategy is important. That's why it's important to have your own personal manual on how it is that you do things, because succession is important as well.
Yes, succession plan is very important.
It's very important. So you can't be the jack of all trades in your own business. And that's why I don't believe in leadership, in the hard way, where you like the boss.
Yeah,
I don't
you must
want
be the
to
one.
Boss. No, because I don't know everything, and I need to hire people that know more than me at some points. And even if it's people that are not more intelligent about, but emotional intelligence and other skills, because I know that I don't have good skills with human capital, because I'm a very practical person.
Yes.
You do this, do that. That's it.
That's it.
I don't want to handle that.
Yeah.
And for me, it helped me to get people that are emotionally intelligent than I am to say, no, it's fine. We'll sit them down. We'll talk to them this way. And it helps me because I don't have that strength.
Yeah,
I want results. I want this, that. Yes, I will be kind, but there's a riff-raff kind of
a bottom line.
thing that I don't like entertaining.
Yeah.
So yes, guys, please do not forget to subscribe, comment, and like, and also click on the notification button so that you get notification and reminders of when we have content available for you guys. So, Thandeka, the thing about it is, I'm thinking, as you speaking, there's so many things that we can sit and unpack, but what is quite prominent for me and for us as the podcast today is how is it that you are mentoring the boys? You're giving them all these equipment and you've realized that they are not given prominence in terms of nurturing them and getting them ready for this woman that we are so focusing on. You know, that then tells me that, okay, there is very much a critical part of gender roles that needs to be addressed, you know, be it from the boys and the girls, but that cohesion needs to be from a positive light. And how has that been working out for you in terms of approaching that? Although you're trying to fix here, you know, if it's not the boys, it's the girls. So how is that working out for you? And especially considering the fact that it's a Women's Month as well, you know?
Spo, I think us as women are formed in a submissive way, or we formed in a way in which we have to submit. We're told that we have to submit, and the men are told or formed to be dominant.
Dominant, yes.
But that can be very toxic, both on both sides.
True.
So it starts at home, I would say. You know, once a person gets to the workplace, they are engineered in a way in which they grew up, mostly. So if you have a son or if you have a daughter, you know, there is no reason why you can't teach them that while they're still young to say you are equal. You know, the schools are doing a good job now in this whole gender thing. Where kids are able to just understand themselves in whichever way that they are.
They feel comfortable.
Because me working with boys, I find how soft boys are once you invite them into your space and you talk to them.
That's true.
But the most difficult part is that when I invite men in good spaces to come and mentor these boys, there's like, no, but you know, the boys are strong. Boys will know.
The boys are fine.
So there's still a big gap with that. Even in corporate, men will take men will take the juniors to a golf excursions, and they will never have any serious talks around mentorship. Men don't mentor men. They take them out and they booze up and they become okay. But for me, the bigger problem is that we get to the workplace and we automatically know that I'm dominant, I'm submissive. And once a woman raises her voice, it becomes a point of, she's too emotional. Or she doesn't like, you know, being told what to do. Or she's too clever.
Yes, we're too informed.
So it's quite important that the conversation starts from home. That, you know, I always say to anyone saying to my son, or you can take this part out.
That's fine.
Or, you know, he's going to be such a heartbreaker.
Yeah.
That thing manifests itself to something that it's, you know, he will grow up knowing that he's going to be a heartbreaker. So what you tell your kids at home is very important because they take it to the outside world.
I really like that because I feel as though there's a lot that shapes us as people in our upbringing. I agree with you 100% there. And particularly with us as Africans, you know, I think this gender roles thing starts taking shape very early in life, with parents, clearly defining lines at home to say, when as a girl you can do this, as a boy you can't do this, or and these things, we grow up with them, and they start forming ideas and opinions, and and they become such a problem.
Absolutely.
That when we are now grown up, we cannot kill those lines that were created back then. So to and I know that it's not only with African upbringing. It happens in all ethnic groups. Do you really invest a lot in your own family? I mean, in Africa, we are Africans. You could have siblings who've got kids. They see you as a mother. Do you invest a lot in shaping a new ideology, gender role-wise, even in your own family?
No, absolutely. I mean, to just give you a personal story, I'm married to a woman.
Okay.
And that changed a lot of mindsets in my African family. Zulu African.
I'm sure that did.
Yes, I can.
Yeah.
But, because I've always been a child that grew up in a family that is so loving,
Yes.
that is so liberated in so far as you make your own choices, make your own choices. It changed mindsets of people around me and, family and also the community.
Yes.
To understand that you have a choice to be who you want to be for your own reasons. So once we stop that, because the oppression comes from parents saying a boy cannot cry, a boy does not wash dishes, and it's an oppression that you get to a marriage and you don't want to do anything. You don't want to cook. You don't want to do anything. You can't
because your mom told you you don't cook when it's not your job.
Yes.
You're groomed to do so. And to be very honest with you, it just rings up. It's so magnified as you say it, because from where I sit, I've got 3 girls, and all of them, including my wife, when they see me, they see chef. When the mom is not around, I am the guy that does everything. Even when mom is around, we'll deal with them personally, but in terms of household, I'll be busy, right? And that's not because I woke up and felt like I know I can do this thing myself, but it also comes from the point of you could do it. All those things. Do you understand? So when you say that you can actually change this thing from a kaya, I then understand what no,
it is. It's the worst thing ever. I mean, obviously parents will try it every now and then, but we say no. No, can't.
And then building the courage for you to say no, against generational issues.
Of course. Because my dad, what he said at our wedding was because obviously there's always friction in family. Why this demonic what all these things.
They think it's a phase.
Exactly. And my dad at our wedding said, no one stopped me and my wife getting together at 19. So why should we stop these people? They are so old and they know what they want.
Yes, they've taken a decision.
Let us respect that.
And it changed a lot.
Yeah.
And I think also for the fact that you hearing him say that, that shut a lot of noise in your ears from other people to say. And
other people that heard that made them introspect as well to say, actually, how is this my
problem?
Yeah.
But being married to a woman, does this mean you've always been a person who's been watermarked differently in terms of gender role ideology, even as you grew up from your early age?
Look, I'm not sure.
Okay.
But I grew up around boys.
Okay.
My family is full of boys. Our moms obviously gave birth to all these bunch of boys. But I mean, obviously, I dated men in my journey.
Yeah.
But I know for sure that I've always known what I wanted.
Yeah.
Whether it was nurtured at home with me being tough and musukala, you
Now
know,
you're one of the boys.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I've always had the power problem with men.
Okay. Okay.
You know,
Yeah.
you can't do
Boardroom
this.
issues.
And I've always struggled with that because I've always been in pants and playing with the boys in cars and all of that.
Yeah, and
Now
I guess you've never
relationship.
also understood, I guess you've never also understood why power needs to be there and not with you.
Exactly.
So for you, there were no power lines, there were no gender lines.
No, why? Because we're happy. Why now should I be the one cooking every day? Why should I be at home at a certain time?
Yes.
Why can't I do business with this person? Why can't I do that? Why can't I be friends with guys now that I've met, you know, when I was growing up? So for me, I must have been watermarked in a different way, but I never carried that. I still don't. I'm a very feminine person.
Okay.
And I'm a crier. I'm a.
You're feminine.
Yeah, I'm feminine.
Yeah.
And I will always say that I am feminine. I'm not now going to talk in a different way.
Sharp fading.
No.
There's no need for that.
No. I wear my weaves, I do my everything, and I'm fine with that. Because
So you're not going to send e-wallets, you're going to still request to receive
Of course.
Okay. Yeah, because that's right now, that's the line we are looking at. You know, for me personally, I don't worry about any gender, whatnot. The question is, if we are to be here in this space, who's sending money? Who's receiving? Yeah, that's how we work around that, you know?
Yeah.
And look, that being said, because remember, you're walking into this and people are thinking it's a phase. Fair and fine, that's their own issue. You've made peace with the fact that this is going to be a topic to someone. But for me, this is a life that I've chosen, right? And these are decisions that you keep making, personal, business, and so forth. As much as you've made decisions in terms of entrepreneurship, to say, I want to enter into business, right? There's people that are saying, you had a comfy cushion job. Why do you going to disrupt yourself in this particular space? Do you not understand that we have the highest unemployment, whatnot? You've built a career so much. Why you want to change these things? So in all of this, at the same time you're becoming a mentor, seems like you're giving a lot out of yourself. But when things get tough and they get dark, where do you run to?
I have a corner, you know, whether it could be spiritual, whether it could be me pouring into myself. My family knows this, and that is why I don't believe in this thing called work-life balance.
Okay.
Because there could never be work-life balance. And what it is that is important is trying to pour into every portion of your life. If I'm a mother now, I'm a mother. If I'm a wife now, well, when I'm a wife now, I'll be a wife. If I need to pour into my parents or family, I am that. So those portions fulfill me in some way.
In some way, okay.
I don't need to totally escape. Yes, of course, I can go to gym, or I can go to a spa, or I can be in my office at home and just, you know, I love building things. Like I love building new businesses. I could be just having a 20 minutes meditation. For me, it brings me back. I'm a very spiritual person. I could just be at work and playing my gospel music in my AirPods. And that for me is fulfilling. I could be listening to a podcast. It's just anything. I like also escaping to mindless TV.
Oh, yes.
And I'll be fine.
And then you hear a knock at the door, you're like, hi, man, that was too soon.
So I try to find escapism in everything because I'm doing a lot. My day is covered with so many things. But I try to fit in every
And it's important. It's important because, I mean, you grow up understanding that you only have one body. There's only one Thandeka. And if you exhaust lo Thandeka, you can't go to a garage and say, fill me up.
No, of course.
You're not an electric Tesla, but plug me. charge me and I go back.
Yeah.
You know, you need to understand your breaking points and all these things. You know, and how you react as well. You know, I mean, earlier on you mentioned that sometimes when you react, people start saying they run quickly to gender.
Yeah, of course.
You know, they're not looking at this is a real concern, a business concern, but you're raising a concern, gender comes up. You know, you are quiet, gender is not raised. You are one of the boys. You speak on the other one, no. Ish, maybe it's one of those ish, but it's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine.
But guys, while we're on about gender roles, we live in a time now, and which has brought about a culture amongst the, I don't know whether to say the younger females or just the younger generation, this indoor must culture, which seems to be all over, whether in social media, and largely young women putting enormous pressure on young men to provide things that they themselves cannot provide. What's your view on cultures of this nature? You know, in their ability to harden the gender lines that exist between us?
Thanks for that question. For me, I guess, again, I will take it back home to the submission and the dominance.
Yeah.
Because once a person believes that I have to be submissive or I have to be dominant, they will forever feel that way. So in a relationship setup, as women have this quote of indodamas, it's because I'm not trying to promote it. It's absolutely wrong and I don't believe in it.
Okay.
But if men in relationships say in Nkoskazi must, because it starts there.
Okay.
Obviously, it will get to a position where indoda must.
That's an interesting take.
Because a man at home will say, Nkoskazi wami or my girlfriend must do this.
Yeah.
She must be home at a particular time. She must, do all of these things. Just like someone that will wife someone that is on their own success level and say, oh, you will be a housewife.
Yeah.
That obviously will give you indoda must kind of quotes. It's wrong, obviously, to be entitled to someone else's money or wealth or their own products of their own work. But you must look at it in both sides, because there is a lot of Nkoskazi must or a woman must that is out there.
I feel like you're also saying in some instances it may work, in some instances it's wrong.
Yeah. For me, a relationship is a give and take.
It is.
For everything.
True.
If a woman at home is giving her everything to doing all these chores and taking the kids to school and doing all these things, where do you think she'll get money from? Because you are the one that has said, don't work, do this.
Yeah.
But obviously, it has its own merit per situation. But this thing of women now wanting bags, everyone is trying to score a bag for not doing anything, is a huge culture of laziness.
It is. It is. And I feel like it's a bit different. I mean, in a marriage situation, even I would tell my friend, Mchan, indoda must, but before marriage, or maybe in other instances, there is times where it becomes wrong.
Of course.
And it just, is laziness. Without sugarcoating it, it's just laziness.
It's a promotion of a woman must not do anything kind of thing.
Yes.
And where it comes from as well is a lot of young girls with social media believe that life is nice and flourishing. They believe that everyone must be seen as a housewife. But obviously there's other roots to these things that are culturally wrong from the beginning.
True.
How I started was, if you're rooted to be a dominant and a submissive person, you carry that all your life.
All your life, true.
Because khona bathi inkosikazi must. Khona bathi indoda must. Now, is that right?
They say bring it to the table.
Exactly.
I think the question should be around the table, because we're always saying who's bringing what to the table, and the new culture that's being pushed out there is to move away the table factor.
Yeah.
And actually, the table factor needs to sit there.
Yeah.
Because as a person that is moving into a union with someone, automatically there's a table. Somebody has to come into the party and deliver something. Yes. Everybody's gonna deliver something if you're gonna deal with people.
It's a transactional kind of love now that is now brewing. It's not even love. It's a transactional
thing.
Culture that is there to say, if you want to date me, you must give me this amount and this. Yeah. And then what happens to that person? And sometimes, that's why we find that our boys that have just started out working as juniors are not able to find girls. Because the girls are moving on to guys with big cars.
They want black cars.
They want black cars. They want this lifestyle. They want all of that. And then it comes to a point where the boy now grows up to be more successful. And then
the appreciation is not the
there's
same.
a gap.
And then GPV starts.
Of course, a lot of it.
You've already said, because we grew up, Tina Besaz, well, our older brothers would say, maybe when I'm 13 or 14, I have this girlfriend who was a skolweni and stuff, but our older brothers would say, I'm dala na guelumun, but it's the same age, you understand? Well, which those were pedophile tendencies, but asikho lapho. To say good, I know law or right for back was do you understand? And then when you, that young one, that young lad who's seeing your girlfriend now elevating to older guys, by the time you start having a girlfriend, you've now seen girls as being possessions. It's just a possession. I'm older, I can have. Do you understand? And it's a problem and a half. And I feel to a certain degree, women have, and this may sound controversial, but women have multiple chances in life where I can be a young aspiring entrepreneur. Girl, I've got the boutique of mine on Instagram, great going, But once my business doesn't work out, I can settle and become a housewife. Me as a guy, Chief, I can't settle and do anything. I have to make it happen. It's
very subjective, but it's fine. We'll skip this question.
I'm just saying, but I did say...
Not all the time. Not all the time.
It's true. True, but I'm not a woman, of course. I speak from an observer's, point of view. But yes, it's true. The culture needs to be adjusted. We're losing ourselves in the process.
Yeah, we are.
And even worse, our kids and generations to come, amongst other problems of economics and everything. Then we have to deal with this.
Yeah.
It's a problem.
Just like anything, culture is changing. And we are resisting to change with the culture. But culture is changing. When I listen to my daughter talking about how kids are now so fluid in schools, that, people just want to be who they want to be. But we as parents now need to catch up with that. For those parents that haven't caught up with it.
We do.
Because your son might bring you a boy today and he will bring you a girl next week. They are so fluid. They date whoever they want to
They date any direction.
Yeah, and you don't want your child coming home and being uncomfortable with you. Because that is meant to be a safe space.
Yes.
And it's breaking generational beliefs. That's difficult because...
Just like anything, food change, culture change.
Yes, Njolo change.
Njolo changes.
Yes. Yeah, I hope it changes with the transactions as well. That's where my issue is.
I want to find out from you, as a female yourself, you probably, you come from a girls' weekend away. You have conversations as women that you guys would have without us. You understand the strengths and the weaknesses of women.
Of course.
What are some of those mistakes that you'd say women make on their own that perpetuate this culture of gender lines and this wrong gender role ideology in society? And some of those things that, women do on their own, and they don't contribute to changing the narrative.
Okay, it's a hard one. I don't answer it. You want trade secrets now?
Now you want them. I should press record.
For me, it's not about women, but it's a whole entitlement kind of culture with people in general.
Okay.
If I date you, I'm dating you because I'm expecting you to do this for me. Both sides, And for me, those are first mistakes because we lose out on the relationship portion.
Okay.
And two people getting together is not about money. It's not about first date, second date. It's not about growth. First 3 months, first 6 months. It's not about growth, really. It's about enjoying and understanding the person.
Okay.
There are no struggles. The honeymoon phase.
Yeah, honeymoon phase, yes.
But, we start putting out this thing of expectancy where boys or men will start flashing things to this girl, and creates a culture that is not true. And the same men will come back and complain and say, I got gold digger. But who said you must buy her a watch on date 3? So it's an expectancy thing that is a culture that we all need to run away from. And again, the mistakes that women make is shrinking themselves to fit in. So if someone dates someone prominent, no names mentioned, already you shrinking yourself to make sure that you fit in.
Yes.
And that kills your soul as a woman. And that then, goes into everything in your life. Your workplace, everywhere. Because now you've shrunk yourself and said, I don't have dreams, I'm going to be this person's object. Or this person's person. So I'm not going to do that. So the men then expect something, and then we fault them at the end of the day to say, no, but you knew this and you killed my dreams. No one kills anyone's dreams. So I think as women we need to stop shrinking ourselves and our dreams and, put it out there straight from the beginning to say, this is who I am, this is what I want, and if you can't stick around for it, I'm sorry.
Okay.
And you forget that, and you start blaming men, saying,
10 years gone.
But you've chosen.
Yeah.
So there's an expectancy element that is a big mistake.
Yeah. Two things that I'm underlining from your answer that you just gave us now. The fact that, number one, the gender discussion is not a female discussion.
No.
I'm underlining that. And the second thing is, when you say women should not shrink themselves, with every revolution politically, you don't simply get what you want. You demand it. And I think what I'm taking from your answer is that women cannot expect to get that which belongs to them. They have to go out there and take it. By them shrinking themselves, it's them expecting that which belongs to them to come to them. But they have room to stand up and say, I demand this. Yeah.
That's very true.
Yeah.
Women know at the same time, they must teach us how to love them. It's very important. I find myself in sometimes in situations where somebody says wants us to have a discussion about how women should act and things like that. And I always say that I can't answer that question. I'm not a woman. I only can tell you how a man would want to be treated.
I will tell you what women want. Women want conversations. Women want transparency. What I've seen in my own journey and in other, heterosexual couples around me, is that a man will always want to please a woman, forgetting that it's not your job to do that. To start, it's not your job to please anyone. But if you are able to communicate with umuntu wakho, to say, you know what, I have these triggers.
Yeah.
This is where I come from. When you do something like this, I actually don't like it. But you don't do that. You walk out the house to go find someone else that will not ask you those questions. So for me, what I think works with any relationship and is communication. And the table you spoke about, that if you find someone that you love, that you want to spend your whole life with, or that you want to build a relationship with, those things should be clear. Because what we find with men out there is that you guys shy away with facing vulnerability. And then it permeates in different ways in your pores. And then it's like, oh my God, I didn't know about this. Because this person doesn't want to go to therapy. This person doesn't want to communicate. So for me, it's not about being taught how to love someone. It's about asking them, how do I love you? How would you love, what is your love language? Because my love language is our fun.
Our fun.
And you keep buying bags and shoes for your woman and saying you love her and buying her cars. But all she wants is your time to go to a movie.
And those things are not doing the trick, Mchana.
They're not.
No.
You're buying these things, she's just keeping them in the wardrobe and quiet about it.
I wanted to take those feelings and put them in the bag.
No. So communication and communicating around people's love languages is very, very important from the beginning.
Yeah.
And how do you find that your journey in entrepreneurship and how you go through relationship issues bleeds onto it? Or do you find that it can happen both ways in terms of the entrepreneurship journey bleeding onto your personal relationship? And how do you balance the two of that? Because I think, because they require one human, even if you're going to wear many hats, it's still the same head, how do you balance that? There's instability maybe in the relationship. How do you prevent it from bleeding over to entrepreneurship?
I spoke about balance earlier. It's important to understand that balance is not easy in life. I don't think it exists.
It never is.
But to treat every portion of your life for its own merit, So, it's hard because we're human. You can fight with your partner this morning and go to an office meeting and then you get triggered by something. But emotional intelligence and understanding that you're a person first is important. Rather take a step back and try not to involve yourself too much into something. But the issue of balance, what works for me is that I want to be present for every area of my life. So I can't go to work and perform duties that I need to perform if I'm not emotionally okay.
It makes sense.
Just like I don't like going to the office on month end.
Oh yes.
Because I take it personally.
It's a stab.
When people have just gotten paid and now it's like there's Uber, it's this and that, and I've had to break the bank to people. So I've chosen that because I can't. It has nothing to do with me, but it's somehow it's
so rather just stay away.
So rather I am in my bedroom making sure I'm doing these transactions. Close the windows, watch Netflix.
Yeah.
Don't pick up my phone if I don't want to. But the next day I'll be okay.
Yeah.
So it's important to understand yourself. This I cannot do. And entrepreneurship, I guess, gives you that flexibility to say, you know what, today I'm not present for this thing. I'm not present for it. I'm sorry, I'm going to be a mother. Let me take my child to the park. Or let me just binge on TV.
Yeah.
And it helps you emotionally.
Yeah.
Because emotional intelligence and emotional, fulfillment is very important so that you can be able to pour out properly.
True. And with I know, of course, it's a journey, this thing. You are not where you are and you're ending there. You're still continuing further. Like you said earlier on, you always want to build something, build businesses, build all these things. So what's next for you?
For me, and what I would like to do is play more of an impactful role through my foundation, but more on the educational part, starting from early childhood development. To my dream is to start an artisan school.
Okay.
Where it is that I train people to do work that will derive them income and not for them to go and be employed.
That's important.
Yeah. The reason why I'm passionate about early childhood development is because that's where it starts. That's where the journey starts.
And I think we're not making enough investment there.
We are not.
No.
But you see how difficult it is. My mom is a teacher. And through my foundation, I've been doing a lot of work in her school.
Yes.
And I've seen the gap. It's so bad. It's just like how, people will complain and say, there's not enough cricket players in the country, black cricket players or rugby players in the country. But they fail to understand that the issue starts from the beginning.
From the beginning, true.
Yes.
The kids cannot learn if they're hungry. So what is happening there? And people will never find employment if they don't upskill themselves.
Yeah.
So for me, that is what I want, to do a total serve academy, to do this, to focus on the artisans, the plumbers, the painters, the bricklayers, and just do an institution focused on that, because I don't believe, I'm sorry if government will listen to this, I don't believe in FET colleges.
Okay.
Because I have taken a lot of interns from TVET. And the work is not being done. And what the model is, they study for 18 months and they have to go to the workplace for 18 months. And they get to the workplace really blank.
I must start everything from scratch.
Yeah, so the model needs to change. And it's unfortunate because government access is very, closed. You go to them and you tell them, actually, let's do it like this, do it in a more practical way. You need to graduate people to start their businesses than saying to them, be a total serve and find a job.
Whilst the cost of training and everything in this particular
Absolutely.
end.
So I'm very passionate on upskilling and education. So that's where I would like to go.
Look, you've touched on a lot of things, and I believe that people at home they are inspired, from all the choices that you've made and how you've been able to persevere and be resilient in all of these things. And knowing the fact that now you're saying that you still want to go even further to fetch it from the bottom, and bring it back up again. That means that you have this, what you said earlier on, you have substance.
I try.
You have substance. And it's one thing for people to appreciate that in every human, to have that thing to say, I know I can do what I want to do for myself, but let me try something different and do for someone else.
Yes.
Whether they stay with me for 2 years or 2 days, but the idea of saying I'm paying it forward, I'm doing this, that has to count for something. That has to count for something.
Before we close, Mr. Nick, I just want to ask Thandeka, you're giving so much of yourself to other people. You are devoting, so much of your time to upskilling others. Now you're saying you want to start at ECD level. Why are you doing all of this? And I know it sounds like a simple question, But I want to probe your dream. What is your dream for your people? What do you want to see us become through your efforts?
For me, impact has always been my vision. And my dream, or my understanding of impact, is leaving a legacy. Not money, but something that someone can pay forward and take forward. What I wish for South Africans and in the entrepreneurship space or any other space is for them to understand the economy will only be held high by all of us, or most of us, taking up the space of entrepreneurship. Because corporate structures will only allow a certain level of people, a certain caliber of people.
Yes.
The mass of South Africans are unskilled people that require a job. And the only way is through that and not the social grants and all of that. You will not ever be able to bridge that gap. So my dream is for a child that is in school to be taught and to understand that there are other opportunities in business. There are other sectors that are not spoken about in school.
Yes.
Facilities management is not spoken about in school.
No.
Property management, energy and sustainability is not taught about. A little bit in bio and science, but things need to change. The level of education needs to change, but also, most importantly, as South Africans, we need to learn to be less entitled, to think that another person, because there can only be a few of us. But in our corner, it's not free. You have to prove yourself that you can be in this space. How we have come to a entitlement, community and culture has actually spoiled the whole Ubuntu thing.
Yes.
Because no one wants to do anything for anyone. Especially us blacks. You think if I say to Sbu, I've got this, you guys do this podcast. There's something that's coming up, there's a conference, whatever. I see that you guys have equipment, come and join in.
Yeah.
For another person, they would rather go buy equipment for themselves. So for me, collaborations is the way forward.
And that's not happening now.
No, it's not. And it's because, it's we're not being taught that. Government is not giving us enough opportunities to collaborate as black people. Policies are there, but they're not enforced.
But does it need to start with government?
No, it does not.
I certainly don't think so.
No, it's business. But, once one rises up, they don't come fetch us. And that's they want to rise on their own, and they want to own the whole of State City on their own end. That's it. But people forget that impact is not necessarily, or empowerment is not necessarily giving you 10 rand to go buy a quota. It's for me saying, please come wash my car.
Yes.
Come every Sunday.
Yeah.
Or come home and wash my sneakers.
Then we ask it at least.
And another thing that I would like to say is that, there's a business in everything. There's a business in washing someone's sneakers and saying, actually, on a Sunday. You can grow to a big thing. But people want things that are of a higher level, and they forget the things that are actually there in the township.
Start with what you have there.
Absolutely. So for me, I would like the mindset shift to happen urgently, or else we're in trouble. Money is soon running out of this country. Urgently, people to understand that, no one owes you anything. Build it for yourself. That's a business.
It is.
I'm sorry I'm dragging, but I used to tell my interns that would come for work experience, my question would be, or namategis, because that is a business. You can actually go and do admin for the person. And you would get your work experience. That is it. Why do you need to come to town? So it's the undermining as well, and it just creates a very bad culture.
It's just a bad culture. I think you're right, and we need to find ways in how we include all stakeholders. You know,
Yeah.
government has a hand, private business has a hand, community leaders have a hand, business people in the community have a hand.
I think this is a whole entire show on its own because now we're speaking about something that is so important. And I guess the key question to pose now is how do we get people to collaborate without government coming in? How do we get people to open doors, black people in key positions, to open these doors? Because those that are in the positions where the money is, they are the ones who are closing the doors. But how do we get us, as you know, with other ethnic groups, they might not like each other, but there is a flow somewhere which takes them as an ethnic group in a particular direction. What's wrong with us, you know? And I really feel like this is a conversation for, you know, it's a whole entire show.
No, true. But guys, continue to do the awareness.
Yes.
Continue to be activists.
Yes.
Continue to be in spaces. You know, you might not impact 50 people a day. You will impact those that want to learn.
Yes.
And you are doing a great thing. And I'm so glad to be invited here today.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Guys, you see, we are impacted. No, man, Thandeka, thank you so much for making time for us from your busy schedule.
Anytime.
You know, I know it's not easy moving from holiday to holiday to holiday and a podcast. You know? So, but yeah, you've given us a lot of things to think about. And
A lot.
And I hope the guys understand that there's plenty of opportunities. Just look around you. You know, look around the favors that you are doing. Those favors could actually be a business that you can just move and just put the invoice in place. You know, so yeah. Guys, thank you so much for being with us. Bongs, any last words?
No, man, I'm just I've just taken in so much from Thandeka today. I think today I just was in listening mode because she was just giving bars on bars of knowledge and wisdom. But thank you, Sis Thandeka. It's such an honor to meet you. And sharing a space, you know, tapping into your thinking as well. It gives me so much hope. As a father of 3 daughters myself, it gives me so much hope that my daughters have an example in other women who are out there. Those that you mentor, females I'm speaking about, if they are younger, they are the people that my daughters will look up to. And that will be a flow from your wisdom. And I really want to thank you. You're doing a great job.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for spending time with us today. And don't forget to subscribe, comment, like, and click on that notification button. And follow us on our social media platforms. Same handle at Khoola Biz. And looking forward to another exciting episode. Watch out. That's it.
Thanks, guys. Goodbye.